Welcome to Miracles, Morals, and Messages, where we share powerful religious stories from around the world and uncover the timeless wisdom they hold. Today we're exploring a story from the Book of Mormon. The journey of Nephi and his family as they leave Jerusalem, face immense challenges, and ultimately sail across the sea to a promised land. It's a story about faith in the middle of uncertainty, perseverance when things feel impossible, and the courage to lead even when others doubt you. Whether you're familiar with the Book of Mormon or simply curious to learn more, Nephi's journey offers lessons that resonate with anyone facing trials, tough choices, or the call to move forward into the unknown. So let's step back more than 2,600 years to the ancient city of Jerusalem where Nephi's story begins. At this time in history, Jerusalem was a city in crisis. Corruption, conflict, and idol worship had filled the land. A prophet named Lehi, Nephi's father, received a vision warning that destruction would soon come unless the people repented. But when Lehi shared this message, the people mocked him, even seeking his life. And so God commanded him to take his family and leave Jerusalem behind. Nephi, one of Lehi's younger sons, trusted his father's vision. He chose faith, even though leaving their home, wealth, and community behind meant stepping into a dangerous wilderness with little more than what they could carry. Not all of Lehi's sons felt the same. His older sons, Laman and Lemuel, doubted their father and constantly complained about the hardships. But Nephi believed that God had a plan and that faith would carry them through. The family's journey through the desert was grueling. They faced hunger, exhaustion, and uncertainty about where they were going. Along the way, Lehi received another vision, a promise that if his family kept God's commandments, they would be guided to a new land, a land of safety, prosperity, and freedom. Years passed as the family traveled through deserts and wilderness. At times, Laman and Lemuel rebelled against both their father and Nephi, even threatening Nephi's life. Yet Nephi's determination never wavered. Again and again, he encouraged his family to trust God, reminding them that obedience and patience would lead them to their promised future. Eventually, the family reached the sea. To many, it looked like the end of their journey, but God had a bigger plan. He commanded Nephi to build a ship. Imagine the situation. Nephi had no experience as a shipbuilder. His brothers mocked him, saying he was foolish and incapable. But Nephi had faith that if God commanded something, God would also provide a way to accomplish it. Nephi prayed for guidance, and step by step, God showed him how to build the ship. He crafted tools, shaped wood, and constructed a vessel strong enough to cross an ocean. Despite ridicule, Nephi's faith and perseverance turned the impossible into reality. When the ship was complete, the family gathered supplies, loaded their belongings, and prepared to set sail. As they embarked, the journey across the sea was not without challenges. Storms rose up, waves crashed against the vessel, and fear threatened to tear the family apart. At one point, Laman and Lemuel rebelled so strongly against Nephi's leadership that the storms grew fierce, putting everyone's lives in danger. But when they finally humbled themselves and released Nephi, the storm ceased and the sea calmed. Through it all, Nephi remained steadfast, trusting that God's hand was guiding them across the waters. After an arduous voyage, the family finally reached the Promised Land, a new world, fertile and abundant, where they could begin again. Now let's pause for a moment to place this story in context. The Book of Mormon tells us that Nephi's journey happened around 600 BC, a time when Jerusalem truly was under threat of destruction by Babylon. The warning Lehi received reflects the turmoil and uncertainty of that historical period. Stories of families leaving homelands under divine guidance are common across world religions. From Abraham leaving his home in the Hebrew Bible, to the exodus of Moses and the Israelites, to Nephi's journey here, the theme is consistent. Faith often requires leaving comfort behind to step into the unknown. The idea of a promised land is also central. For the Israelites, it was Canaan. For Nephi's family, it was a land across the sea. For believers today, it can symbolize any goal, hope, or future we move toward when we trust in God, even when the path feels uncertain. And culturally, Nephi's story also mirrors the experience of many pioneers and migrants throughout history, leaving behind security to face the wilderness in search of freedom, faith, and renewal. So what can we take from Nephi's journey today? First, the story reminds us that faith is often tested in the wilderness. It's easy to trust when life is smooth, but the true measure of faith is whether we hold on when the road is long, the storms are fierce, and the destination is unknown. Second, Nephi shows us that courage isn't about having all the skills or answers. He didn't know how to build a ship, but he trusted that God would guide him step by step. In our own lives, when we face challenges we don't feel prepared for, Nephi's story reminds us that with patience and determination, we can accomplish more than we ever thought possible. Third, the conflict between Nephi and his brothers reflects the reality of human relationships. Doubt, jealousy, and resistance are natural when the path is hard. But Nephi's persistence teaches us that leadership sometimes means standing firm, even when others don't believe in you. Finally, the Promised Land reminds us that there is hope beyond the trial. Whatever storms we're facing, whether personal struggles, family hardships, or uncertainty about the future, the journey can lead us to a place of renewal, peace, and abundance if we don't give up. From the deserts of Jerusalem to the vast ocean and finally to the shores of a new world, Nephi's journey is a story of faith against the odds. It shows us that even when the path seems impossible, perseverance, courage, and trust in God can lead to life-changing destinations. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Miracles, Morals, and Messages. If you enjoyed this story and the insights behind it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more episodes exploring the wisdom behind the world's religions. Until next time, remember this: every great journey begins with a single step of faith, and even the stormiest seas can lead to a promised land. And as always, if you have a story you'd like to see us cover, use the link in the video description to submit your request, and we'll do our best to get it included in our library.